Hey guys, this is the Mage of Ancients, and I'm back with another video in celebration of Blue Angel March. All month long, I'm releasing videos on this channel in celebration of Blue Angel, one of Link VRAINS' most popular celebrity duelists. In today's video, it's going to be a Trickstar deck profile for March 2019. And I'm also going to be releasing a Marine Cess discussion video by the end of this month, as well as another Trickstar duel video. So, if you guys enjoy content like this, then be sure to subscribe to this channel and ring the bell so you stay updated on my latest Yu-Gi-Oh videos. Now, going into this deck profile, it's not the best build that I've come up with, but I have been playtesting with this online for a while. Like I said, it's not the best deck build in the world, but you guys can just opt out some of these cards for whatever you feel is better. Maybe you can incorporate some of these side cards into the actual main deck. Anyway, I'll let you guys be the judge of that. So here we go. Starting with the monsters, 2 copies of Ash Blossom and 3 copies of Droll and Lockbird. I feel like that the thing about Ash Blossom is that it's a hard once per turn. Even if you resolve it, your opponent will still be able to find a way to play around it. At least that's what I think. And your opponent will also have a way to out it because you can only activate the effect of Ash Blossom once per turn. You could try and use it against some of today's meta decks, but even so, your opponent will more than likely be able to find a way to play around it. If anything, I recommend you using this against Summon Sorceress and Rusty Bardiche, for example, since Dark Warrior based decks are still running around, and any deck that decides to use Summon Sorceress, definitely use Ash Blossom against Summon Sorceress. 3 copies of Droll and Lockbird. Of course, this is to be used in tandem with the trap cards that I have here, especially Trickstar Reincarnation. I'll get to these cards in just a little bit. Anyway, for the rest of the monsters, it's the standard Trickstar stuff. 3 copies of Candina, 1 Lilybell, 2 Licorice, and I decided to tech in 1 copy of Narcissus. The reason why I decided to include Narcissus in this build is because of 2 reasons. 1, Thunder Dragons, and 2, hand traps. If you happen to get Narcissus onto the field by the time your turn comes around, then if your opponent tries to activate any hand traps on your turn, then yeah, your opponent will still be able to lose 200 just because he activated an effect from the hand. And it also works for effects in the graveyard as well, but mainly for effects from the hand. Especially since people are still decided to play Thunder Dragons. It's not as popular as it once was when it was first released, but people still play it, so I figured why not just include Narcissus. Of course, if you guys don't want to include Narcissus into your build, you can probably just opt Narcissus out for 1 copy of Licorice. So that's it for the monsters. Now for the spells, I included my 1 copy of Chain Strike. This is a burn-based deck, so I figured why not include Chain Strike. 2 copies of Dark Room of Nightmare. Every time your opponent takes damage off of a card effect, then your opponent loses an additional 300 damage. So let's say that you have Licorice onto your field, and you also have Light Stage. Just as soon as your opponent's turn starts, as soon as he or she draws a card, he loses 200 off of Licorice and an additional 200 off of Light Stage. And your opponent is going to take 300 more off of each of those effects. So 200 off of Licorice, 200 off Light Stage, that's already 400 damage lost, 400 points lost. And then an additional 600 for each, additional 600 because of both of those effects. So your opponent will already lose 1,000 points of damage on that as soon as that person's turn starts. So afterwards, 1 copy of Monster Reborn because it is Monster Reborn, so why not? 2 copies of Pot of Desires. I decided to go with Pot of Desires just so I can reduce the likelihood of drawing the cards that I don't want. I'm drawing the extra copies, actually. Of course, you guys can opt this out for a Pot of Extravagance since you guys don't really go into your extra deck as one. Since you guys don't really go into your extra deck in this build. 2 copies of Terraforming. This, of course, is to search for any of your 3 copies of Light Stage. You'll want to see Light Stage as often as possible since it's not a hard once per turn. I mean, there are no hard once per turns when it comes to Trickstar Light Stage. Of course, Candina is also a pretty decent card as well. If you see either Light Stage or Candina, you should be more than likely be good to go. And now for the traps, 3 copies of Disturbance Strategy, 3 Present Card, 3 Secret Barrel, 3 Secret Blast, 3 Reincarnation, of course, and 2 copies of Waboku. So I'm maxing out on pretty much all the traps except for Waboku. But Waboku is still a pretty good card. If you activate it, you take no battle damage, and your monsters cannot be destroyed by battle this turn. You can include Trap Trick if you want to into this deck, or pretty much any other Chain Burn deck if you want to. And what you do is that you would activate it and then banish 1 normal trap from your deck, and you can set a card from your deck with the same name onto your field. But I'm pretty sure that you can activate it on the same turn that in which it was set by Trap Trick. So yeah, the main cards that you want to go for when it comes to this build are Present Card and Trickstar Reincarnation. Disturbance Strategy, of course, you could go for that as well. Secret Blast and Secret Barrel, these are mainly here just because there are additional burn cards. But if you guys want to opt out any of these cards in the main deck for cards like Reckless Greed or Balance of Judgment, just so that you're able to draw into more cards, then you can go ahead and do that. So that's it for the main deck. Now for the side deck, 3 copies of DD Crow, because Salmon Grades are becoming so popular, so why not pick up your copies of DD Crow right now. 3 copies of Pankratops, easy spot removal, especially for when you're going second. 3 copies of Phantasme, another good going second card. 3 copies of Called by the Grave. If your opponent tries to use any hand traps on you, could go ahead and just use Called by the Grave to stop it. And then finally, 3 copies of Impermanence. You guys can opt this out for Effect Veil if you want to, but I feel as though Impermanence is the far superior card in this case, at least in this format. Anyway, moving on to the extra deck, I decided to just, like I said, you don't go into your extra deck as much, but your extra deck is your friend that is always there whenever you need it. So here we go. 1 copy of Underclock Taker. This is, of course, to reduce the attack of any of your opponent's monsters equal to the attack of any monster that you control. You guys can, this is completely optional. And I also decided to include one of each Trickstar Link monster. So 1 Holly Angel, this is the one that I decided to go into the most. 1 VRAINS, sorry if I'm mispronouncing that. 1 Delphinium, 1 Crimson Heart. Oh yeah, Delphinium is good for recycling those banished Trickstar cards. So yeah, 1 Crimson Heart, 1 Bloom, 1 Catbat, and one of my other favorite Trickstar Link monsters is Bella Madonna. So you can use this effect, and then you can inflict damage to your opponent equal to the number of Trickstar monsters that are in your graveyard with a different name. And the other Link monsters that I have in my extra deck are Saryuja Skulldread. Any effect that you resolve with Saryuja is good with me. And in the Nightmares, Nightmare Unicorn, Phoenix, Griffin, and Cerberus. Like I said, like the other monsters in your extra deck, they're there whenever you need it. Whenever you need them, excuse me. And then finally, Boral Sword Dragon, and finally, Boral Load Dragon. Excuse me. Sorry if this phone is being a bit wacky. Anyway, so yeah, that's it for this deck profile, everybody. Of course, like I said at the beginning of this video, or was it some point of this video, you guys can opt these cards out for whatever you want to make this deck a bit more consistent or a bit more competitive. Anyway, I'm going to leave that up to you guys. What do you guys think of this deck? Let me know down in the comments with what other improvements you guys would like to make to it. And if you guys enjoyed this video and you want to help support the channel, then be sure to hit that like button and comment below what other Yu-Gi-Oh videos you guys would like to see. And of course, subscribe and ring the bell so you stay updated on my latest Yu-Gi-Oh videos. Thanks for tuning in, everybody, and I hope to see you again.